was just another day. Sun came up in the morning, no clouds.
Bonjour, hello and welcome. Today we have the pleasure of talking to Dr. Marie-Claire Patron. Marie-Claire has been Assistant Professor of French and Spanish Studies for the last 18 years at Bond University. Marie-Claire has recently released her new book, Diary of a French Girl. Welcome, Marie-Claire.
Bonjour, Courtney, et merci beaucoup.
Thank you. Now, tell us about the book.
It's, this young girl, young girl, she was 23 at the time, still young,
Yes.
but she realized that in spite of Western cultures being ostensibly homogenous culturally, psychologically, economically, that this did not preclude incidences of culture shock and reverse culture shock. And this was what my research was all about, and the impact of these phenomena on cultural identity.
Fantastic, intriguing. Now, the book shares the story of Natalie. Tell us about her, how you met her and why you included her in the book.
She was an amazing character. She's quite funny in herself, but you have this demure, sophisticated, quintessentially French exterior, you know, the certain je ne sais quoi. And beneath this bubbling, beneath this calm exterior is this bubbling, adventurous spirit.
What was the main aim for you?
Aim was to reach international students, but mostly this was an awareness-raising exercise.
What do you think needs to be done to prepare them psychologically? Is it a matter of research, preparation, awareness of culture, or is it something that really you just have to anticipate and then go through?
Anticipation, you've hit the key word. Anticipation and preparation are really the key to a successful cyclical process of acculturation and repatriation.
During the first couple of phases, you write of Natalie's habit to check mail. Do you think that family and friends underestimate their role while the traveller is away?
Check mail. And this was absolutely essential for her to keep that contact with home, but she felt that she was in such a privileged position that she did not want to let her family know how desperate she was for news from home. She needed that lifeline. And very often the family, the friends, they allow these young students to go and they think, well, lucky you, can I come with you? Can I carry your luggage? And little thinking that the experience psychologically has quite an impact on them. I've travelled to India and you have, and I'm sure that you're prepared. You have gone through the process. You prepared yourself meticulously for the travel, but you know you didn't forget your underwear. You didn't forget anything important. But psychologically, I think it hit you as well, didn't it?
Yes, definitely.
So
it's something that people underestimate as well.
Absolutely, and it's particularly when you return home, a lot of people find that they no longer fit in.
The book is structured according to the 5 phases of culture shock and adjustment, but does every person go through these exact phases?
Not everyone will go through these phases of culture shock in the same way as Natalie did. And don't forget, Natalie actually meticulously prepared for this sojourn from start to finish. And yet she still went through these effects of culture shock. But because of her research and because of observation, which was her favourite pastime, she managed to piece together a way of working through.
In the book you mentioned the concept of a third place. Can you tell us about this?
But this is essentially a special place between two cultures that international students or learners of a new language discover for themselves, where they can interact with the host society members feeling completely comfortable as they realize that it is no longer so important to speak the language like the native.
Just because you're there, you don't have to be one of them.
Absolutely, because their own peculiarities, their own accent is all part of who they are. And this newly evolved individual, intercultural individual, is completely at ease in this host society, and they can be themselves and they can interact and they're completely comfortable. So this is essentially that third place, which I think is a really beautiful concept.
You also mentioned integrative acculturation. Is that the same thing or different?
The acculturation process is quite complex, and there are 4 processes of acculturation, and there is assimilation, integration, separation and marginalization. The last 2 are fairly self-explanatory, but there is a lot of confusion between assimilation and integration. And a lot of countries, this depends very much on the host society. and the demands of that host society, and the newcomer. Usually this also refers much more for migrants than sojourners who are here for a brief period of time. But say the newcomer arrives and they are expected to assimilate into the new culture, and quite often that means it is at the expense of their own cultural traditions of their cultural integrity, and as they move towards the host culture, they learn the customs, the traditions, the new language, and they lose their first language and a lot of their traditions as well.
Part of their identity along with it, I suppose.
Along with their cultural identity. So the difference with that is the integration implies that you can move towards the new culture, but without compromising your cultural identity. So you grow up as a bilingual individual, and you maintain all the aspects that you value in your own culture whilst going towards the new culture and embracing those aspects that you value, and perhaps distancing yourself from those that you believe maybe you do not want to be a part of. And that in essence creates a far happier individual.
More well-rounded as well.
Much more well-rounded.
For those about to set off, what are your top 3 tips for a positive intercultural encounter?
Do just a little bit of research, even if it's just some cultural awareness, by researching some sites about the people.
The place you're going.
The place you are going to.
What you'll encounter.
What you are going to encounter. So, because essentially the focus is on preparation and anticipating. Really to take things not as face value,
grain of salt.
but take it with a grain of salt and laugh at it. And perhaps whilst you are laughing at the situation, you can laugh at yourself. And then this can help resolve issues with cultural collisions, because this is going to occur no matter what. You can keep the contact with your family and your friends, and keep them au fait with everything that you are doing, so that when you return you feel, okay, I think I can fit back in because they know what I've been through.
Just a little bit of what I've been through.
Or at least, you're right, a little bit. Not everything, because there are things that you keep closely guarded to yourself. And let us not forget that everything that Natalie wrote in her book was not meant.
Definitely not for public reading.
Definitely not meant
but
for
you
public
put
scrutiny.
It out there, and we thank you.
And
very
she's very
much.
brave.
She is.
Very
she
brave
is
to
for
have
offering
allowed
it up
this.
to us.
Thank you, Dr. Marie Claire.
Thank you so much.
Marie Claire's book is available at the Bond University bookshop. I'm Courtney Wilkie. Enjoy the book.
Sun came up in the morning, no clouds, didn't rain. Seemed to be okay, perceived from the outside, no one saw change. Everyone tells